तस्य बुद्धं शरणं गच्छामि धम्मं शरणं गच्छामि संघं शरणं गच्छामि.
Ladies and gentlemen, over the last few days, the Seva team members collected articles, poems, write-ups, essays, artwork and anything that could be put on paper by ONGCians and their dependents or family members to be confluenced into an expression and reflections of ONGCians about Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar's life and deeds. And we had received a wonderful response. Our email IDs were full of such artworks and write-ups that we received from everyone throughout the Western region offices. All these had been combined to make up a souvenir called the Bhim Sandesh 2023. So I would now like to request all the dignitaries on the stage to release the cover of Bhim Sandesh 2023. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause. Bhim Sandesh 2023.
हमारे आज के मुख्य अतिथि आदरणीय श्री ओम प्रकाश सिंह सर, जो डायरेक्टर टेक्निकल एंड फील्ड सर्विसेज है वो जीसी से, तो सर से बात हुई और सर हमारे आग्रह पे यहाँ मुंबई पे आने को तैयार हुए और आज उनको शाम दोपहर में वापस उनको दिल्ली जाना है, क्योंकि आवर डायरेक्टर्स आर ऑलवेज बिजी, उनको समय बहुत कम रहता है, फिर भी उन्होंने समय निकाला और यहाँ पर आए हैं सिंह सर। तो मैं उनका हमारी पूरी टीम की ओर से उनका मैं बहुत बहुत यहाँ शुक्रिया अदा करना चाहता हूँ। हमारे दूसरे गेस्ट ऑफ ऑनर है, बड़े ही आदर के साथ मैं उनका यहाँ नाम देना चाहूँगा, आदरणीय श्री पंकज कुमार सर, जो डायरेक्टर प्रोडक्शन है और यहाँ पूरा ऑफशोर और ऑनशोर अभी डुअल चार्ज सर के पास में है, तो पूरे देश की जवाबदारी, प्रोडक्शन की जवाबदारी सर के कंधों पर है। और आई एम वेरी श्योर हमारा पूरा टीम का यह कहना है कि सर में जो काबिलियत है, जो उनमें प्रतिभा है और उनमें जो हमने देखा है कि जो एक डिटर्मिनेशन है मेन, वो हमारा ओएनजीसी का जो ऑयल प्रोडक्शन है, हाइड्रोकार्बन प्रोडक्शन है, वो डेफिनेटली एक दिन और इससे और राइज करेगा और हमारा देश जो है वो तरक्की करेगा। एक है हमारे आज के कीनोट स्पीकर पद्मश्री प्रोफेसर डॉक्टर सुखदेव थोराट सर। एक बार जोरदार ताली के साथ में साहब का स्वागत हो जाए। आप सबको पता है, फिर भी आपकी जानकारी के लिए मैं बता दूं कि साहब जो है वो नोटेड इकोनॉमिस्ट है, एजुकेशनिस्ट है, प्रोफेसर है और उन्होंने बहुत सारी बुक्स लिखी है, डिफरेंट फैसेट्स ऑफ बाबा साहेब लाइफ, इकोनॉमिक्स, सोशल, पॉलिटिकल साइंस और भी बहुत सारे इश्यूज। ही इज द फॉर्मर चेयरमैन ऑफ यूनिवर्सिटी ग्रांट्स कमीशन यूजीसी। देश के जितने भी विश्वविद्यालय हैं उसको जो एक बॉडी होती है, उसके अपेक्स बॉडी वो है यूजीसी। साहब उसके चेयरमैन रह चुके हैं और साहब को अपने कार्यों के लिए पद्मश्री अवार्ड भारत सरकार द्वारा अवार्ड हुआ है। स्पेशल गेस्ट जिसके लिए आप सभी इंतजार कर रहे थे पिछले 2 सालों से, और साहब को मैंने छोड़ा नहीं। मैं बोला साहब जब तक ओएनजीसी में नहीं आएंगे मैं तो उनके पीछे लगा रहूँगा, और वो आज दिन आ गया कि साहब हमारे सामने यहाँ उपस्थित है। डॉक्टर जब्बार पटेल साहब का यहाँ स्वागत करते हैं। सारे और डिग्निटरीज यहाँ आज उपस्थित हैं, उन सबका नाम तो थोड़ा नहीं लेना चाहूँगा क्योंकि सर लोगों को जाना है, तो मैं सबका नाम न लेते हुए मैं सबका जो हमारे की एग्जीक्यूटिव्स है, सीनियर ऑफिसर्स हैं ओएनजीसी के, उनका सबका जो रिप्रेजेंटेटिव ऑफ हमारे कलेक्टिव्स है, जैसे एस्टो है, पीयू है, कर्मचारी संगठन है, ओबीसी एमओबीसी है, डब्ल्यूडीएफ है, उन सब के जितने भी ऑफिस पर इस कार्यक्रम में उपस्थित है। और आज का ये विशेष जो प्रोग्राम है, इसका एक चीज़ मैं बताना चाहूँगा वो इसमें कि हमने जो स्टूडेंट्स, मेरिटोरियस स्टूडेंट्स हैं, उनको भी हमने यहाँ फेलिसिटेशन का प्लान किया है। साथ में जीवन गौरव पुरस्कार के द्वारा जिनका सोशल फील्ड में, एजुकेशन के फील्ड में, हेल्थ के फील्ड में जिनका मेजर कंट्रीब्यूशन है, जिन्होंने अपना पूरा लाइफ डेडिकेट किया है, उनको हम जीवन गौरव पुरस्कार से सम्मानित करने वाले हैं।
Made it a point to be here today. It is a pleasure to have you all It is a privilege to be able to address you today on the 132nd birth anniversary that we celebrate of Babasaheb Ambedkar. The life of such a great man definitely inspires many of us, and that inspiration should be, in my view, shown in our actions. Last week, during the actual celebrations of his birthday, we also had the distribution of some benefits under the annual component plan program. These are funds which are specifically set apart by ONGC from its CSR budget towards schemes that will benefit the scheduled tribes, the scheduled castes. And we have made it our endeavor here in Mumbai to ensure that these funds are fully utilized, and also to ensure that they are utilized in those areas that Babasaheb himself pointed out. Most of our funds for CSR, for the component plan, were used in the field of education, following his slogan that he left behind: educate, organize and agitate. As far as our CSR funds here in Mumbai, the utilization in the last year, majority of the funds of around 4.5 crore which was given to us have been utilized once again in the field of education, reaching out to the Zilla Parishad schools, bringing new technology in the scope of whiteboard education, bringing interaction through internet into their lives. Some time back, there was a report in the newspaper, if I remember correctly, it was on Babasaheb's birthday, about one village where not the ONGC project, but somebody else had taken up a similar project. And smart classrooms had enabled these students to interact with students in various other countries through the medium of the internet. So this is what we also want to open up the world to those students who are in our villages, who are studying in Zilla Parishad schools. In the year ahead of us, the financial year 23-24, most of our focus will again be on education and also on healthcare. This is our commitment that in the previous year we had 4.5 crore as our budget. In this year we already have committed projects of more than 9 crore rupees. We hope to spend close to about 15 crore this year from Mumbai towards CSR activities, which will again, as I said, be focused mostly towards education and to healthcare. I invite all those who are present here, my fellow key executives, to kindly give us those ideas that you have, those projects that you have identified where we can also contribute and take up during this financial year.
For sure, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar probably laid the foundation stone for the growth of this country post-independence. He was definitely one amongst the freedom fighters, the eminent politicians of that time, the eminent social worker of that time, the educationist of that time, the political reformers of that time. But above all, he was creator of our constitution. 70 years, 75 years have passed, but that constitution is equally relevant today. So the kind of vision probably he was having after such a big gap is equally relevant. We all are always talking that world is passing through different disruptive changes, fast-paced changes. But when you look at such personalities, it comes to mind how they could think of what would happen 75 years down the line, but whatever they write will remain relevant then too. So these are the things Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar had encrypted in the Constitution.
whenever we remember such personalities, whenever we celebrate any occasion of such personalities, their thoughts, what they taught us probably. मुझे हमेशा लगा कि इन सभी लोगों का केवल एक ही लक्ष्य था कि हम हमारा जो कर्तव्य है उसको निभाते रहें, तो शायद ये सोसाइटी अपने आप चलती रहेगी। जब भी हम अपने कर्तव्य पथ से हिलते हैं, तभी सोसाइटी में उथल पथल होती है। निश्चित तौर पे कुछ न कुछ ऐसी चीज़ें सोसाइटी में हमेशा रहती हैं जिन्हें करेक्शन की ज़रूरत रहती है, और इस तरह की पर्सनालिटी उन करेक्शंस को लोगों के सामने लाती है। ओएनजीसी हमेशा बाबा साहब के जीवन मूल्यों पे अमल करने की कोशिश करता रहा है। ओएनजीसी की हमेशा ये कोशिश रही है कि जहाँ भी ओएनजीसी काम करे उसके आसपास की सोसाइटी तरक्की करे, हम उसके आसपास की सोसाइटी का ख्याल रखें। वो किसी भी वर्ग की हो सकती है, जहाँ तक हो सके, क्योंकि हम लोग रिमोट एरिया में ज़्यादा काम करते हैं, गांव में काम करते हैं, फार फ्लंग में काम करते हैं, तो अगर कुछ सुविधाएं वहाँ तक नहीं पहुँच सकती हैं तो हमारी कोशिश रहती है कि हम सरकार के जो एंडेवर्स हैं उसका माध्यम बन के उन सुविधाओं को उस जगह तक पहुँचाए। अभी विजयराज जी ने जो बताया कंपोनेंट प्लान, ये भी उसका एक माध्यम ही है मेरे हिसाब से। हमारी कोशिश रहती है कि जैसे मैं अभी पढ़ ही रहा था और सबको मालूम है कि बाबा साहब के 2-3 बहुत ही मूल प्रयत्न थे। शिक्षा, उनका कहना था कि अगर किसी को भी आगे बढ़ना है तो शिक्षा सबसे पहले ज़रूरी है। अनटचेबिलिटी, इक्वलिटी, यही उनके कुछ मूल मंत्र थे। तो हम अपने कंपोनेंट प्लान हो या CSR इन टोटलिटी हो, शिक्षा, हेल्थ, वुमेन एम्पावरमेंट, सोशल इक्वलाइजेशन, इन सब पे ही हमारा भी जो है एम्फेसिस रहता है। और हमारे इंस्टॉलेशन के आसपास के लोग आसपास के रहने वालों के साथ इन चीज़ों को तवज्जो देते हैं और आगे लेके चलते हैं।
It's indeed my greatest privilege and ultimate pleasure to be here today for 132nd birth anniversary celebration of Bharat Ratna Dr. Babasaheb, Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar ji. I compliment All India SC/ST Welfare Association, Western Offshore Unit, ONGC Mumbai, for organizing today's program to celebrate the life and work of Babasaheb, the chief architect of Indian Constitution. Friends, as you all know, Babasaheb was a scholar par excellence, a philosopher and a visionary. His relentless efforts for social and economic emancipation of downtrodden were well known, and that was the only principle on which Babasaheb worked and taught us. A true champion of human rights for ensuring equality for all, Dr. Ambedkar led a number of social movements to ensure justice to the non-so-privileged sections of society. He truly stands apart as a symbol of a struggle of social justice. ONGC, as my colleague Pankaj Kumar ji and HRO Mr. Vijay Raj, he has already explained the contribution of ONGC towards uplifting the social events and society. We are contributing a lot on CSR fronts, so I'm not going to touch upon all those issues, but I would only like to share with all of you that ONGC has always been at the forefront in furthering his ideas of Babasaheb and his teachings. His visions and thoughts inspire us to work for ensuring availability of opportunities and equitable distribution of resources amongst all. On the auspicious occasion of Babasaheb's 132nd birth anniversary, let us again redeem our pledge to follow his philosophy, teachings, and strive for equality, unity, and justice for all. This is the only mantra for success and development of our people, company, and the nation at large. Before concluding, I would like to share with all of you that for we ONGCians, the real tribute to Babasaheb on this day will be if we work very hard, if we work as a team, and we increase our production to ensure reduction of import bills of the nation.
Today the occasion is the 132 birth anniversary. In fact, my correction started with birth anniversary, which was 100th birth century actually. This whole idea of making a film on Dr. Ambedkar, in films division, when my friend was Vijay Chandra, he once told me that for a long time, a subject of Dr. Ambedkar for a documentary is lying with us, and nobody is coming forward because they feel very risky work. We want to make a documentary on Dr. Ambedkar. So I said, okay, I know all the friends, they can go for research. I said, unless you give me the freedom for research, I can't go in like that. Because wherever Babasaheb stayed, studied, and he made all his work, like anywhere, Mahu to Columbia University, I must go and visit and take those important steps in his life in documentary. That is why I was researching on documentary. And while I was making a documentary, they announced that we have a birth century in a very big way. And there was a meeting with the government of Maharashtra, they call all party meeting. And Mr. Sharad Pawar was then the Chief Minister of Maharashtra. So I was one of the person who invited. Actually, Mrs. Mrunal Gori was sitting next to me. And she asked me, what are you doing? I said, I'm just doing a documentary on Dr. Ambedkar. I said, documentary? How many people will see documentary? How can you reach the masses? I said, well, that's right, you need a lot of money. He said, why not we make a film like Gandhi? I said, impossible, because that's a very highly expensive film. Anyhow, everybody put up their ideas. Everybody was there, from Manohar Joshi, Gopinath Munde, everybody was there. And everybody gave the idea how you celebrate the 100th year. And Mrunal came, and Mrunal said, okay, we must do something for the women cause, education, and girls' hostel, and so many things she put up. And lastly she said, why not make a film, a feature film like Gandhi on Dr. Ambedkar? So everybody clapped. And she said, it's not that easy. And I'm suggesting, Jabbar was sitting next to me and he's making a documentary on Dr. Ambedkar. I'm suggesting him, why documentary? Make a complete feature film on that. So Sharad Pawar was sitting and she smiled. I said, Jabbar, are you ready to make a film? I said, okay. And in that meeting itself, he announced that he'll be providing about 1 crore only for the research to start the film. That is how the initiation of the film started. And then the central government joined, and that is how funding was made, research. I think it was the whole work of 4 to 5 years, having Dr. Y.T. Phadke as the same main research man, one of my gurus and a historian. And the script was made, and somehow I felt that it cannot be work of one person. So I requested Sunita Araporwala, who had written Salam Bombay, and very good in English script, because this film has to be in English. It was an international release, and then dubbed into different languages. So we started with Sunita Araporwala, and Arun Sadhu joined as the man who knows the political scene, and Daya Pawar, one of the Dalit poet and a very renowned name. So we combined all the three elements into the script, and that is why there was a central government advisory committee, and then there are so many details happening. The film came into problem and all that. So ultimately, the film was shot. The main challenge was, of course, choosing Dr. Ambedkar's character, who will play the role. So many people were around in Hindi cinema, but somehow I was not very happy. First of all, my challenge to Sukhdev was his diction. The personality, it was not easy. Man with a good height, a robust personality, very fair complexion, and a complete Oxford kind of a diction he had. The wonderful English he used to speak. Now to get such an actor in India was a problem. So we made a lot of auditions. Actually, first I went to UK. I had about 20 auditions of major actors who will look like Dr. Ambedkar, but I was not very happy about the situation. Then also in North America, Canada, Latin American countries, I wanted somebody like him. But somewhere something lacked, and then I came back dejected totally. And luckily today you see a photograph of Dr. Ambedkar here. This photograph of a profile, one of Dhanjeki's book. And suddenly that fortnight was an issue of Filmfare. On that there was a profile of Mammootty, a Malayali actor. It was like the same profile but with the dark glasses. It suddenly clicked to me that he looks like Dr. Ambedkar very much. So my friend Ravi Gupta was chief of the NFDC. We said yes. We not ask Mammootty, but let us work digitally something on. So SIDAC, the company in Pune University, we asked our friend called Yavalkar to work on Mammootty's face. And it was done by about 5-6 stages. A frontal look, a profile, then removing his moustache, because Mammootty has a wonderful moustache. And that was his actually supposed to be what they call a trademark. And he was known for his wonderful moustache. You must have seen Mammootty on television, chasing young girls and singing songs and all that. So now, how to approach him? So we made in about 5 stages Mammootty's face, removing moustache digitally, little bit hairline at the back, cheeks coming out with specs, and the complete suit which Babasaheb had. And with that, we approached Mammootty. I went to Chennai, and he said, my friend Adul Gopalakrishnan had worked with Mammootty. And I told Adul, look, I feel like casting Mammootty as Ambedkar. It's a good idea, ask him, I'll see the appointment. I didn't know Mammootty. So I went to his house. He welcomed. I said, he thought there's some role coming to him from Hindi cinema. I said, it's not that. I've come to ask you if you can do Ambedkar. I said, what? I said, Dr. Ambedkar. You mean Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar? The man from Maharashtra? You asking a Keralite man to do it? I said, Jabbar, what is wrong with you? I said, no, there is something in you, I think, got similarity. And the film is in English, it's going to be international work. I'll be happy if you. I said, no, this is very difficult. My body language is totally different than Ambedkar. The only similarity is I'm a lawyer, because he's a law student, Mamuti. The only similarity is I am a lawyer and Dr. Ambedkar was a lawyer. That's all. And finally, I said, come on, have tea, or otherwise you won't have lunch. Wonderful machi is there. You have fish and everything. And please forgive me. Then he came, he went to his wife and told her, these people have come and they're asking me to do Ambedkar. She said, no, it's not possible. Don't take the risk. A very controversial figure politically. Don't do it. We are happy in Kerala. Then I stayed back. I said to have lunch, to lunch and all that. And then I took those photographs, what we had done on his face. I said, Mounty, can you look at these things? And he saw, who did this on my face? I said, it's done in Pune. He saw one by one. Finally, when he came to the last stage where his face is totally turned into Dr. Ambedkar, he couldn't believe. He just rushed again to the kitchen and he showed his wife, look what they've done to my face. And I said, surprise, do I really look like Ambedkar? Yeah. It's okay for a refer, but I don't think I can do it. I'm very sorry. The first my difficulty was, like dhoti what they wear in Kerala. He said, I have a complete rounding the whole thing. And then you have a very different kind of dhoti. Impossible to walk like that. How they wear, it's like nani and sari and then take this. I don't know how the males do that. And the whole thing remains on that. I said, Mammootties, very different thing. You try. He refused. I came back very dejected. It's a very near choice. So Adur again convinced him that please try. After 8 days I went back and ultimately he agreed. That was one of the plus points I had. And he worked very hard. I'm telling you, worked very hard. And he tried to understand the script. First of all, the Malayali accent in English is very different. And we had two teachers, in fact, here, who knew Oxford diction. And he said, we'll do it when we dub the film, but let me do what I am today, and whatever he did was one thing. The audition was the main task for us, because he had to be in the costumes of Dr. Ambedkar, and we wanted to video the whole thing. And the question came mainly of proving the moustache.
Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar was not the leader of Dalit and deprived people alone. Indeed, he was. But he was not the leader of Dalit alone, but he worked for the country as a whole. And he contributed in nation building. And you people have rightly mentioned here, architect of modern India. One of the architects of modern India. I will therefore, what I will do is present before you in as simple word in English and in Hindi, Dr. Ambedkar's role in nation building. That if he was awarded the Bharat Ratna or he was selected by the people on India Today count, the greatest Indian after Gandhi. Gandhiji was not in the picture in that competition. So I think Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar indeed deserved to be one of the greatest Indian, deserved to be Bharat Ratna, who contribute in rebuilding of India. It is this, some of this fact that I would like to present before you, because Dr. Ambedkar, Dr. Babasaheb is considered as a leader of the oppressed and depressed, maker of the constitution, and a couple of other spheres. But his multiple contribution in nation building is ignored, or perhaps not known to the people. We don't study Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar that point of view. And I do remember that when I went to meet the President of India, the earlier President of India, to meet him, and he said, Thorat, everybody recognized Dr. Ambedkar as a maker of Indian constitution, leader of the Dalit. And you had said somewhere that he has played a multiple role in nation building. Why don't you write it down and bring it in the public domain, that his role in multiple sphere. And I tried to do it, and I publish it and send it to him, the copy. It is this research of on the multiple contribution of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar that I will, in another 40-45 minutes, make you aware his contribution and make you realize that it's very difficult to find a person like him who has contributed in nation building. There are many people during that period of time, but hardly one finds a person who has contributed in so many spheres of national importance. I am not talking of Dalit, of national importance, and a person can do this thing provided he is immensely committed to the national cause. He loves his country. And the account that I will present you will make you believe that how he was important. Dr. Ambedkar came back from London after his studies in Columbia University from 13 to 16, and then from 16 to 17, late 1970, he registered for DSc, MSc, and of course PhD Columbia University. When he came back here, he did not have any degree, as a matter of fact, except the MA Economics. And there are a large number of books we say that Dr. Ambedkar got a PhD in 1960. Huge mistakes are made, including Shashi Tharoor. Dr. Ambedkar got PhD from Columbia University in 1927. Before that, he got DSc from London School of Economics, and MSc around that time, 1923-24. So when he came here, he wrote a letter to the Sidney College at the government of Bombay's presidency. For he had applied for a job in Sidney College. There he has clearly mentioned that he completed the requirement for PhD at Columbia University and also registered for DSc in London School of Economics. The important point that you have to remember that when he came here and joined Sidney College, his first political engagement was in 1990, and that was the memorandum that he submitted to the South Bureau Commission. The South Bureau Commission came to India from London to seek the opinion of the people to make changes in the British Constitution. You must understand that British India was ruled under the Act, what is called British Act. And sometime there was a provision that after every 10 years, the Britisher would send a commission to India, seek the opinion of the Indian for a modification in the British India Act, take those suggestions and go back and make modification. The South Bureau Commission came in 1919, that was after 10 years, and Dr. Ambedkar saw an opportunity to place the grievances, the demand of the depressed classes. At that time, the word used for depressed classes, not the scheduled caste. And so that is the first written statement of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar describing the problem of untouchables, their pathetic situation, and giving the solution for the first time. And he submitted the memorandum. And then of course again after 10 years, in 1929, Simon Commission came, again he submitted a memorandum. And then you had a series of roundtable conferences in London, which led to the 1935 India British Constitution, one of the largest constitution in which Dr. Babasaheb has played an important role. But that's not important. The point is that Dr. Ambedkar's, Dr. Babasaheb's engagement in political life began in 1990, then ended in 1956. One can say with the conversion to Buddhism in October 1956. Now during this period of 35 years, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar really participated in several activities and contributed in different national events. Now you must remember one thing, that 1920, the initial year, first year of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar in political activity, 1920 to 1950 is a period in Indian history which has built up what we are today as a nation. Because several things happens during this period, and ultimately we had India as a nation through the Constitution. Now 1920, 30, 40, 50, 30-year period, for 30-year period, many events took place, happened, which shaped the character of India as it exists today, as we have it today. And in each of these events, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar has played a role. What are those events? First event is that we fought for independence. Congress was established somewhere around middle of the 19th century, and Congress fought for the independence. We eventually got the independence in 1947. We made a constitution in 1949 and accepted in 1950, but the process of constitution making began in 1920. That is the change in the British Act and the 35 British Constitution, and then ultimately the 1950. Now, the constitution making process was spread over almost 30-year period. Then we got a constitution, our own constitution in 1950. The problem of minorities was at a very high level, which led to violence and ultimately led to partition of India. So the question of minority was very important at that point of time. It shaped the character of India, as a matter of fact, and we continue to shape today as far as the relation between minority and majority is concerned. Reorganization of the state took. We had more than 50 priestly states, and we had 3 presidencies: Bombay Presidency, Madras Presidency, and Calcutta Presidency, West Bengal Presidency. And when we got independent, we had a question how to form the state. So we had a state reorganization committee, and we have state now, which is a very important event that decide our character. We had the question of economic development on our agenda in this period. Although the first 5 plans started in 1950, but prior to that, during British period, there were several economic policies which decided the fate of, decided the economic development of India. The question of labor, Dr. Babasaheb was a labor minister during 40 to 46. Question of women, Dr. Babasaheb was a law minister and brought a Hindu code bill. So you can see that there are events that really resulted into what we have today, India as a nation. Now what is important is that Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar not only contributed, I didn't mention that, other than these all events, most important events was the rise up and depressed class movement under the leadership of Babasaheb Ambedkar. And then it resulted into several things: political parties, convergence, Buddhism, social movement, and all that. I have not mentioned that. I'm keeping that aside for the time being. But all those events which I mentioned one by one, which are very important for the nation building, in each of these events, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar contributed. When he was in power, he contributed in terms of policies. Whereas he was not in power, he contributed in terms of writing. and writing on the national issues which has remote connection with the problem of depressed classes. A person who is deeply involved in the problem of depressed classes, why should he write on the national issues which are remotely concerned with Dalit, which means he was a nationalist of the highest order, and he was concerned about the events, and he was concerned about how India's future will be shaped. Let me give very briefly, we don't have a time, let me give you briefly on each of these points what is the contribution of Babasaheb Ambedkar. Independence. Now there are people who say that Babasaheb Ambedkar has not participated in independence as much as he should have been, but that is not true. If you look at the book, what Congress and Gandhi have done to Untouchable, there are last 2 chapters where he answered this question. But that apart, what is important is that Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar supported independence openly. When he went to the first roundtable conference in 1930 in London, Gandhiji and Congress boycotted the first roundtable conference, but for Babasaheb it was an opportunity. He gave a memorandum in 1920, as I said, South Bureau Commission, and he gave another memorandum in 1930, 10 years after Simon Commission came. But then it was followed by a discussion in the London, that is called Roundtable Conference, and Babasaheb was invited. That was the greatest achievement, and so he went there.